Welcome everyone to my review of SummerSlam 1989. This SummerSlam review series is underway. Goody! Alright, so anyways, SummerSlam 1989 obviously happened because SummerSlam 1988 was a big time success. This time it took place in East Rutherford, New Jersey at the good old Meadowlands. And I will say from this show's standpoint, if you take the in-ring components very seriously, if you like really good pure wrestling, if you will, this show had more quality matches on it than 1988 did. It had three matches that I think really were really good in their time and stand the test of time to this day, but sadly, one of them wasn't the main event that this show was ultimately built around. Okay, so let's get started. Just like with SummerSlam 1988, you had that great, phenomenal opening tag match between the Rougeaus and the British Bulldogs. SummerSlam 1989, again, emphasizing the depth of talent in the tag team division of the WWF at this time. You kick off this SummerSlam with a damn near equally as good match between the Brainbusters and the freaking Hart Foundation. If this type of tag team match occurred in the WWE in 2014, the IWC would perform one huge massive circle jerk and demand that this match be the main event of every pay-per-view for a 6-month stretch, and frankly, who the fuck could blame them? Two phenomenal tag teams in the Brainbusters and the freaking Hart Foundation. This match was great. Absolutely great. Bobby the Brain Heenan played his whole well. Arn and Tully, obviously two really good workers. Bret Hart, what more can you say? And Jim Neidhart, I don't think sometimes gets the credit for being the quality of tag team wrestler and worker that he was. These guys went out there and really cut it up. These guys went out there and really tore it up. And, you know, again, this is a match that every time I go back and watch SummerSlam 1989, it's one of the three matches that I actually want to see happen. It's this one right here. Now, maybe I'll bring up some of the other matches that happened. You had Dusty Rhodes beat the Honky Tonk Man. Is what it is. You know, Dusty Rhodes in his polka dots, baby. Whatever. You had Mr. Perfect defeat the Red Rooster in what was really nothing more than a showcase for Mr. Perfect. And sorry, Terry Taylor, maybe you should have had more of an attitude when they gave you the Red Rooster gimmick of any cockle-doo. They made him the fucking Red Rooster. Remember this? You older fans know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. The fucking Red Rooster. But this is still at a time for the WWF where the cartoonish shit was really working, and sometimes wrestlers embraced the cartoon gimmicks and the over-the-top kind of childish gimmicks, and they made a shit ton of money out of it, like a Dusty Rhodes did with the polka dots. Or you ended up being like Terry Taylor and being the Red Rooster and not really buying in and not really fully embracing and saying, cock-a-doodle-doo! Instead, cock-a-doodle-doo. Again, maybe any cock should have done. The next match, which was the fourth match on the card, kind of smothered right here in the middle of the show. And the middle of this show was really, really damn good. Back-to-back, real quality matches in their own ways. The first one was a 6-man tag with the Martel and the freaking Rougeaus against Tito Santana and the freaking Rockers. The only kind of boo-boo in this match I've always wondered was, how did Jannetty get pinned if Michaels was the legal man? Even with that being said, this was a really damn good tag match. Was it as good as the opening tag? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know if it was as good as that tag, but this was still a really quality tag match. In the second straight year that the Rougeaus were a part of a really damn good pay-per-view tag match at SummerSlam. This was a really damn good match. Rick the fucking Model Martel. God, I love that freaking gimmick. Okay, and then you get to the next match, which was a singles match for the WWF Intercontinental Championship. And I love this feud between the Ultimate Warrior and Rick Rude. You go back to the Royal Rumble 80 and you had the freaking pose down. That Warrior, of course, won it. Rude blindsided him. Then you get to WrestleMania 5, and you got the match for the Intercontinental Championship. And Rude wins when Heenan holds Warrior's legs through the ropes where the ref can't see him. Then you get to SummerSlam 89 here, and you get kind of the next phase, the next step in that rivalry. Here's the rematch. Warrior has his chance at revenge, his chance to get back his Intercontinental Championship facing Rick Rude. And I guess if you're Vince McMahon and you're the WWF at the time, you know Warrior's a star. You know Warrior could be an even bigger star. You know at some point in time, you probably have visions of putting the strap on Warrior maybe as soon as the next year, 1990. So you want to make sure you take care of him. You want to make sure you put him in there with the right guy. You want to make sure you put him in there with a guy that's going to get the most he possibly can out of him. He's going to make him look as good as he possibly can. And by God, there were few better ever at doing that than a Rick Rude. This is an outstanding Intercontinental Championship match. I don't give a shit. You had 7-8 months of freaking story building up to it. You know, you sat there and had completely different characters. You had a heel who was a really fucking heel. You had the greatest manager of all time, in my opinion, in Bobby the Brain Heenan in his corner. You had the freaking Ultimate Warrior. You talk about the supernovas in terms of hot fucking characters in his time. The Warrior was it here. That is for damn sure. But Rude was able to slow Warrior down and get a really damn good match out of him. This is a great Intercontinental Championship match. You know, Rick Rude, a really good Intercontinental Champion. And I think, again, Ultimate Warrior, somebody that a lot of people don't give enough credit for being the quality of Intercontinental Champion that he was. It's not just about having the great matches as an Intercontinental Champion. It's about elevating the profile of that belt, in my opinion, and being a major part and becoming a star in part because of that belt. And Ultimate Warrior succeeded in those areas, that's for sure. We had another 6-man tag between Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Demolition versus the Twin Towers and Andre the Giant. You know, kind of a big fucking muscly type, you know, brawling match. And you need some of those on this card. So again, that worked here. You know, this wasn't fast. This wasn't up-tempo. This was something that was done to change the pace of the show. And I think it was well positioned here, and you had the right people in play here. But ultimately, when you get to this show, it was built around trying to play out No Holds Barred in the real world. Oh, God. I don't know what's more amazing is the fact that Vince McMahon thought, because of the No Holds Barred movie, that it would be a great idea to bring in Zeus to have a program, a piece of business with Hogan, and have it main event SummerSlam 89. Or it's even more amazing that he got more than one pay-per-view main event out of fucking Zeus. Didn't he main event No Holds Barred too? Oh my God. Didn't he wrestle at Survivor Series too? I'm just saying. This is even when Vince would do something that was really stupid. Vince would do something that was really bad. Vince would do something that had no absolute business for it to work at all. It would still find a way to, even if it totally sucks, still fucking work. And make no mistake about it, Hogan and Beefcake versus Zeus and Savage fucking sucked. I'm sorry it did. You know, the way they introduced Zeus, he attacked Hogan before his steel cage match against Boss Man at Saturday Night's main event. Oh, God. This isn't the movie, this is real life, gorilla. Perhaps one really fucking awesome thing about this whole piece of business between Hogan and Beefcake and Savage and Zeus in 89, if you look it up, there's that crazy fucking promo where you've got freaking Savage and Zeus and freaking Sensational Sherry sitting there just saying all types of crazy off-the-wall shit behind this cage-looking fence structure. Fucking outstanding. But this match, sadly, was not. In this period of time, this match still worked because it had Hogan, it had Savage, it had Miss Elizabeth, it had Sensational Sherry, it had Beefcake. But if you had this type of main event in today's WWE, you'd be facing an uphill battle. The only things that probably would give this match a fighting chance in the world of working is ultimately that it would have Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage in it. And I would defy any WWE audience in 2014 to have the courage or the balls to boo a Hulk Hogan in his prime and a Randy Savage in his prime. Point being, it wouldn't fucking happen. But would it be something you would want to build your pay-per-view around? Is it something you would want to do to sell, let's say, a bunch of subscriptions to the WWE Network in today's times? No, you'd probably not want to do Hogan and Beefcake versus Savage and Zeus. The whole thing is, oh, he fucking finally got Zeus off of his feet. He body slammed the arm. Zeus! Anyways, that's enough for SummerSlam 1989. Like I said, if you're a fan of, quality in-ring work, this is actually the better show for you to check out as opposed to 88. If you like storytelling elements and character development, then 88's more of the show than 89. This wasn't a terrible show. It just had one of those god-awful SummerSlam main events. No question about it. Next up, time to talk about SummerSlam 1990. We'll see you then.